Happy Sunday! Happy Sunday! Happy Sunday! Hello, colleagues. Welcome back to the office for another episode of Dungeon Manager, our work from home edition. This will continue to continue. This will continue until we're out of this, but obviously this gives us an excellent excuse to meet up regularly every week and enjoy one another's lovely faces. So this is great. Before we start, a huge thank you, as ever, to our assistant dungeon managers on Patreon, Rory O'Sullivan and Graham Muir. Thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world. To see more of our Patreon and the other tiers below, from Dungeon Intern to Dungeon CEO, you can check that out down below, as well as Ivo de Jager's incredible artwork for it. We have a couple of things coming up. At the moment, we're putting out notes from previous sessions that you can have access to as a patron. We will also shortly be announcing our second ever one-shot, and we're particularly excited about this one, and we'll get into that very soon. Also, finally, we have the campaign available, I'm losing my words, in podcast form. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on Podbean. Basically, it's more accessible than it's ever been, and we would love to have you on board now, more than ever, especially as we start a new chapter of the story. So, without further ado, I think that's everything. So,
no new nails today.
No new nails. We've run out of
unfortunately.
Maybe we should start doing
face paint. I'm going to paint every
Granny Fungus!
What colours would be for Granny Fungus?
I feel like Granny Fungus is like a purple and green.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that, yeah.
I like hairy as well, so we could get some fur.
Yeah, oh my god. You can borrow
some... Need it.
Oh my god, you can borrow some fur from Tonks.
You could just stick fur to the end of my fingernails.
No, I think you should use that like fake moss that you use for
models. Yeah.
Also, there might not be some characters that we should have had painted for.
Maybe not. No.
I will campaign for Darkstar because I feel he needs to make a comeback.
Well, I mean, he needs to actually premiere in the film stuff. He's only in the original.
He's a fabled NPC.
No one else will know what we're talking about.
Has ever heard of other than us talking about him. Also, I need a point of admin.
Yeah,
I made a mistake last week.
Okay.
On that stealth score. Their stealth score that I said was a 36, I lied.
Oh no!
It was.
So it wasn't a mistake; it was a lie.
It was only. It was only a 34.
Oh no!
We're gonna have to redo the entire thing now.
Everyone's passive perception is.
Should I just leave? Should I just leave the?
No. You're
am I fired from the office?
No.
You have to resign.
So, without further ado. And with Michael's job hanging by a thread, we will jump straight in to another episode of Dungeon Manager. So, waking to a peaceful new day, your first since solving the Upper City murders, your eyes turned to the true purpose of your arrival into Baldur's Gate, the imminent arrival of the High Librarian of Waterdeep, Ostafar Gate, and his connection to a mysterious religious organization originating in the northern city of Cometstadt, the First Church. Heading to Citadel Street to collect your gold from Sergeant Mariah Lambert, Dalifar, you asked to speak with the now imprisoned Thomas Idlewend, chained beneath the Watch Citadel. You were granted an audience with the prisoner, and you pressed him as to his involvement with the church. Though not a member of their organization, he revealed that he had not only been commissioned to construct them the very first temple within Baldur's Gate, but that he had also redesigned and constructed a throne room for them. A throne room in a building called the High Spire of Cometstadt. You were also able to find out the reason for Ostafar Gate's stay in Baldur's Gate. He has business to attend in a library further on down the coast. A library that, in your investigation, Dalifar, you have already heard of. The Fortress Library of Candlekeep. And with that, you left Thomas to his fate. And without further ado, you headed to the establishment that Ikreth Mal was staying, a tavern called the Wilting Snowdrop. Terra and Scarlett, you infiltrated the building, finding that a newly arrived Ostafar was also a guest at the establishment, and overhearing a conversation between Ikreth and Ostafar referencing an upcoming meeting with an individual called Sabina Menthald, and ingratiating yourself with Mistress Mixos, the Dragonborn proprietor, you discovered that none other than Houtan Boucher would be cooking a special meal for the guests that very evening. So seeing an opportunity, Scarlett booked herself and Xenie a room with the intent of returning that very evening. And so, after an afternoon in Lower City, sorting your banking, and with Terra translating the further contents of the mysterious book that Oriana has in her possession, you have returned, walking through the evening streets towards the Wilting Snowdrop. So, you're just outside, I assume across the other side of the street. So, first very important question, Xenie and Scarlett, would you like to describe your fancy clothes?
Gosh.
She's been waiting for this moment.
Yes. Oh, do you want to go first, Xenie, or shall I?
I don't mind. It's up to you.
Oh my gosh, the choices. Wow. As you can imagine, Scarlett is wearing red. She is resplendent in her glory. It's sort of, I'm very bad at physical description, so, you can tell I'll never be an author or a painter or anything creative. But basically, it's sort of a long ball gown type thing. The sort of outfit that somebody would sort of wear after their husband dies in mysterious circumstances. That's the thing I'm going for.
Not where I thought that was going.
Scarlett de Winter.
Like, what? Officer, I can't believe that happened. It's like those birds, like those pigeon birds that looks like it's like that.
Oh, okay.
High necks, a bit ruffly.
Still wearing your red chef's hat, or is that taking a break for this evening?
I think she wanted to because it's like part of her brand, very important. But I think what Xenie said about Houtan kind of stuck with her, and she realised she doesn't really want to draw his attention, particularly this evening. So she's kind of hoping the fact that he sees so many people that he will sort of not know who she is, but that may or may not be. So she's unfortunately given it a bit of a break, and she feels a little naked without anything sort of adorning her head similarly. Her head
and I imagine that Juliet still has her sort of faux diamante.
Oh, yeah. She's wearing that. We are a matched pair. It's glorious. We're beautiful.
And Xenie, how about yourself?
So Xenie has, I find it hard to describe it. It's kind of a bodice as the upper part, but it's a studded leather, quite form-fitting and quite high under the chin. But then bare arms, and the bodice is in a deep burgundy. And then the trousers are slightly like harem pants, but shorter. So they're quite baggy, but shorter and cut off just after the knee. And they're a slate charcoaly grey. It's not terribly fancy, particularly in Scarlett's opinion, but it's much more fancy than the stuff she usually wears.
Brilliant. So, as the three others look wildly underdressed in comparison, what are you all wanting to do?
I'm wearing my cool black outfit,
Oh yeah, and I've got the makeup that Terra very kindly did over the bronze bits of my scales.
I've still got my day-to-day armor, but on top of that is my purple cloak with the hood.
And you're now dyed hair.
Dyed hair, jet black, and different ornaments in the beard and hair.
Okay.
Did you dye your beard as well?
Yeah, I've dyed my entire head of hair.
White beard.
White beard.
Just for men.
But I think I would have got like a rag or like a piece of cloth from my blacksmith's tools that I carry to sort of potentially just cover just like a mask basically, but I have it to hand.
Okay.
Not covered quite yet.
So, as you all stand across the street from the Wilting Snowdrop, you can see that In the dark of the night, the windows are flickering a warm orange from candlelight, and you can see in the slightly foggy windows silhouettes moving to and fro. So, as you all stand opposite, what's your game plan?
I am going to Ostfar Gates' room. What are Dalafar and Ariana, what are you gonna do?
I think we're gonna wait.
Wait until you've opened the window.
For us to climb up.
Okay, are you, Dalafar, are you gonna just come into Ostfar Gates, or are you going to Ikreth Miles' room?
I'm going to go to Ikreth's room first.
Okay.
I'm going to, because you're going to Ostafar's room first, aren't you?
I'm only going to Ostafar's room.
You're going to Ostafar's room, but from there, from gaining entry there, I'll go round into...
Okay. So I think you should take this Descending Stone, which Scarlett has your half of. This is my half. So you take this one so that Scarlett can contact you if someone's coming upstairs or whatever.
Sure. But is it because you're going to Ostafar's room, you'll be right next door? I'm going to still have to do the same thing. In fact, that I need to let you know. But if you're going to stay invisible...
There's a window in Ikreth Miles' room. I assume. Is there?
Work out like a knocking code?
Well, I was planning to be invisible, so I was thinking
perhaps
that...
Maybe if the rooms are next to each other, aren't they?
Yes.
So maybe if Dalafar and I look in the separate rooms and Terra stands outside the rooms to watch, and then she can knock.
Yeah. I would like to be able to look myself in Ostfar Gates' room.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
Okay.
But I was thinking, if someone does come upstairs, if I get caught, well, I won't be because I'm invisible. So it's more important that you two stay together with the Sending Stone.
I feel when you're saying that, you say, well, I won't get caught.
Well, I'm invisible.
But also, did you see Ed's face? Because it was very much okay then.
I'd be more worried if I just saw Ed start rolling dice.
Immediately.
You've already been spotted. The adventure's over.
Yes, okay. That's right. I need to go into Ikreth's room first and look around.
Okay. So
Scarlett and I will just eat food. Mediocre food.
Thank you, Xenie. I look forward to your assessment of man's creations.
I mean, I eat bugs. I don't really... I've not got a sophisticated palate.
Bugs can be plenty sophisticated, Xenie. Don't put yourself down.
Be careful with the chocolates.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, be careful with the chocolates.
Does he mean be careful with the chocolates, or is he chiding me for that time about the chocolate?
Make an insight check.
That is a 19.
I am slighting you for the previous time.
I'm just mentally recording that. That's fine.
Yes,
I'm adding it to the tally.
But secretly looking forward to the chocolate.
Yeah, like Xenie's pupils have definitely dilated.
Yes. Myself and Xenie will eat at dinner. We will let you know if either of your quarry appear to leave and perhaps go upstairs. Then, of course, can create a distraction if needs be. If possible, I don't know. I mean, Ostfar and Ikreth will be there, but I doubt we'll be able to get much out of them during conversation, and probably best not to arouse their suspicion. But, of course, if they say anything of note, we will let you know.
Great. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Also, Scarlett, I think in terms of a distraction, this might be one of the few times that fire would actually be plausible.
I mean, fires happen all the time, Zena. They're always
Yeah, but if
incredibly
somebody's
important.
cooking, then it's less suspicious.
Yes.
I just look quizzically at Xenie.
What?
It's suspicious if the fire starts not anywhere near the kitchen.
Yeah, but Scarlett has some distance on her powers.
By
Like,
the water basins.
We will see. I mean, it could be the case that this chef creates a fire without any of our input. It would not surprise me.
Well, instead of fire, can you possibly just do smoke instead?
No smoke without fire, though.
Exactly, Tara.
Oh. I loved that a little bit too much.
I mean,
or just enough.
the quips in just before the preamble. This is going well.
I think we're just trying to delay this.
How far away in time is the actual meal? Do we have a time for it?
So it's 8 o'clock, and it is currently around 7:45.
Oh, the clock.
Yeah.
Oh, the clock.
The clock. Oh, the fancy clock.
Yeah, part of me is going, why are you saying it that way? The other part of me is going, fantasy.
Yeah.
I think perhaps myself and Zena should go and deposit our items. I hold up the bags we've brought, with our random assortment of things in. And,
It's just full of rocks.
I mean, yours might be, Zena.
I mean, good thing they don't have a bellboy of any kind, because it's like, oh, can I help you with your bags, madam? Yeah.
So can I?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, I think we've got a game plan in hand, but I think you want to say something on top.
Well, Ed, do I know which side of the building their windows are?
Yeah, I'd say from your previous venture into the building, you'd probably be able to find it. It's sort of on the back of the building.
Okay, and which is hidden from other things, presumably. So Ariana wouldn't be.
Yeah, the alleyway. There are alleyways around it which are quite wide, but they are hidden by other buildings. So
okay, I think what I might do, maybe we should just go and look in the windows. The building's covered in trellises, so we can just get an idea for if they are even in their rooms.
That is true. I suggest we go the long way around, though, for those of us trying to sneak in, as opposed to Xenie and Scarlett. So,
so this is where we part ways.
For now.
Well, we will see you soon. It may be the case that myself and Xenie will have to stay the night to complete the ruse, but we will.
So we'll meet up again tomorrow, back at the inn.
The Dripping Tap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
Best of luck. I hope it goes well.
Same to you. Remember, if there's any reason that they might suspect you of anything for any reason whatsoever, it is best to make your escape and get away if you can.
Yeah, because that's not suspicious.
Well, people can go to the bathroom
I've been compromised.
and not come back.
Just pick up the sending stone. We've been made. Leave their rooms.
Abort.
As Dalifar, Oriana, and Terra walk off to somewhere slightly less in sight, Xenie and Scarlett, accompanied by a very enthusiastic and excited Juliet, you slowly make your way to the entrance, and opening the door, you enter into the warm interior. You're met once again by the red terracotta flooring and the very rustic foyer area. And you can see that the chairs and tables that were dotted around have now been removed, replaced instead by a giant rectangular table at the far side of the tavern. White sheets are covering its surface, and all along there are silver candlestick holders, and you can see fine china set on placemats. And there are 12 chairs around the entire table. Looking around, you can see there are a number of eclectic individuals. You can see sort of moving between them sort of like the parting of the Red Sea. He is quite a large gentleman after all, is Houtan, walking around with a tray of hors d'oeuvres, which he is serving to everyone. And Scarlett, you see that these are roasted shallots. And he's walking around and saying, would you like to try? Oh, thank you. And meanwhile, you can see that Mistress Mixos, the red dragonborn, and her long red tail and white gown over the top, she is currently pouring various wines on the counter, and seeing you enter, she waves and she walks through the crowd towards you, making her way until eventually coming before you. And Lady Scarlett, you came. Please allow me to take your luggage up to your room.
Oh, thank you. Mine is very light.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And this is the companion that you spoke of?
Yes, this is Xenie. She will be staying with me this evening. She's a very, very dear friend.
A pleasure to meet you. Well, don't let me keep you, please. Eat, mingle with the other guests, and I will take your bags. Oh, it feels like rocks. And she
It's not actually rock. Xenie wouldn't be able to lift it. Xenie's not very strong.
And so, taking the bag, she makes her way up the stairs, and you are met with a large crowd of people. Like I say, it's fairly eclectic, and the people you see before you are from all sorts. Looking around the room, you can see a number of individuals. You can see a drow. She has dark grey-blue skin and long white hair pushed to one side with an undercut, and she wears a black high-necked jerkin with puffy white sleeves and dark purple trousers. You see, as well, a rather young dragonborn, fairly thin. She has sharp blue scales and yellow eyes and tall horns and a long, long tail. And she has a dark green cloak with a golden amulet hanging from her neck. You also see two other individuals, both human, and they appear to be a couple. The first is tall, with very dark skin and tightly locked hair, wearing a long-sleeved dark blue dress that trails across the floor with a lighter blue scaled sash around her waist. And the other one, who is with her, has dark skin, long black hair, and wears a long white winter coat over a red doublet, along with many silvered rings that clink together as she goes about her duty. And you can see that she appears to be signing to her partner and speaking on behalf of her wife. You also see slightly more shabby than the other people present. Two elderly gentlemen wearing matching heavy sort of brassy orange robes with cloth scholars' caps with yellow tassels hanging down. One of them is small and hunched, and he has liver-spotted skin and frizzy white hair and very thick sideburns that stick out beyond his ears. And the other is a bit shorter, but he's quite paunchy, quite a belly on him. He has pale, wrinkled skin with long greying hair that drapes over his shoulders, and he has a big bushy moustache that, as he drinks, he occasionally just whistles from side to side, sort of as though to get the residual liquid out. But they are the people that you see before you, and in amongst them, another individual that you recognize. Tall, elven, long black hair. It is Ikrath, and he is cradling a glass of wine in his hand. Ostafar, from what you can see, nowhere to be seen. So, what are the two of you doing?
I think before we enter, I go to Xenie. Will this be your first event of this type, Xenie?
No. It's been a while.
I think it's best to remember the basics. Every joke is hilarious, and everybody's words are very interesting.
Yeah. And usually it's a good idea to smile like this.
You're gorgeous, Xenie, you've got it.
You can see that
I know.
Juliet's purrs have become louder and more reverberated than you have ever heard them before. She's looking around at everyone just... And she is sort of trying to paw a little bit at the floor, but her little claws are just sliding against the red terracotta. But as you stand at the door, you can see a number of people sort of giving looks in your direction and nodding their head, but it seems everyone is simply mingling.
Lovely.
Ed, can I just check, the two elderly gents, are they both human as well?
They are, yes.
Thank you.
It's okay.
I think if there's one place Scarlett is very comfortable, it is at a dinner party. So I think she just sort of like glides into the room, very confident. Making sure Xenie is following.
Yeah.
The crowds part for you as you walk forward, and everyone seems to be, especially with your rather large gown, which trails across the floor somewhat. This is as much out of necessity as you are an intriguing new presence in the tavern, and one that, especially for the guests there, they haven't seen you before. This is your first night, and it is quite an entrance that you are both making. So, while you two begin mingling indoors, the three of you, what are you doing outside?
Approaching the wall with the two windows.
Okay. Make a perception check for me real quick.
All of us.
All of us?
Any of you who would like to, yes.
Natural 20.
Hey!
Won't bother then.
Well, I rolled a 2. So...
I rolled a 1.
Wow.
You two are just looking down the alley, and I'm just like...
Literally, like the shortest one of all of us.
Both of you are just like... Dalifar is just like, I see you all.
So, Terra and Oriana, as you focus on trying not to be seen, Dalifar, your drive to seek out Ikreth and to discover his secrets and his intentions guides your eyes up to the first floor, and you can see 5 windows in a row. 4 of them are unlit. One of them, however, there is a flickering candlelight inside, and you can just about make out a very tall figure inside, human, bald, no eyebrows, no facial hair, long red robes, and very handsome, if somewhat austere face. You imagine this to be Ostafar Gate, and he is currently poring over something in his room, whether they be notes or books. It is hard to tell at this angle, but he is currently in his room.
So just a quick question. These are these glass windows, or are they just the window is open?
They're glass windows, and especially under this weather, very much closed.
Right, okay. I gestured to the others saying, I think Ossifar's still in his room. And I point.
Right.
Over there.
Well, the meal doesn't start for another 15 of the clock. 0.15 of the clock.
Is it 15?
So,
what are minutes?
Minute.
Clocks do exist. They do.
Yeah.
In this fantasy clocks exist.
Fantasy clocks. They still tell the fantasy time. So I go, well, if that's where we need to get going, would it be worth just perhaps I could possibly try and make my way up just to see if I can hear what he's doing, because if everyone else is downstairs, which his light is you say he was the only one open, only candlelight on, Ed?
Yes.
Okay. He must be doing some last minute things, and it might benefit us if we could listen in.
Mm-hmm.
Terra,
perhaps if anyone was going to listen in, would we not want someone who's invisible?
I was just going to say, Tara, do you think...
I suggest we wait until 8 o'clock, and then I'll go invisible to use the full hour. And if he's still not left, then we can try and get him to leave. I don't know. I'll think about it at the time.
I think that's wise.
Okay.
So we'll just chill out for 15 minutes.
Okay. Meanwhile, inside, Scarlett, as you're making your way around, and I assume you've probably helped yourself to some wine by this stage?
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
So as you're walking around, you sense the eyes of an individual from across the room, and you see very tall, very wide tray in his hand, Houtan just looking towards you and slowly making his way through the crowd. He comes over to you and, I believe you have not had the pleasure of trying some of this yet. Don't I recognize you?
Oh, perhaps I've been in the city for, how long have I been in the city for now?
It's been around a 10-day, just over.
A 10-day. I don't know. Yes, yes, around a 10-day. I think I went to one of your events.
Is that right? Are you a fan then?
I have certainly read all of your books.
Well, I am absolutely flattered. Well, in that case, you will have to try this. It is roasted shallots. And in just a moment, I will be bringing out the fried zucchini twists, and they are quite delightful.
I try a shallot.
It is adequate.
It is adequate.
For you, it is adequate.
I'm like, Zini, would you like to try one of these shallots?
Yeah, sure. And I just poke a talon into one and then eat it off the talon.
It's very good, Zini.
Ooh.
It's very good.
Nice. Also, I'm having massive imaginary food envy. The zucchini twists sound beautiful.
Yes.
Wait for the other 8 courses.
Stop it.
But Houtan sort of leads forward and, well, I have to say a lot of the people here have not heard of me, unfortunately, but it is a pleasure. And he puts the tray to one side and sort of leans against the bar and, I have to say, which of my books have you enjoyed the most?
He's Gilderoy Lockhart, and I love it.
Oh no, what if he has the same secret?
I am dying.
Well, I'm trying to find my list of equipment. Hold on. D&D
Also-
Beyond, you have...
Also, I utterly ship him and Darkstar.
Darkstar has
What
better
I
taste.
found most informative was pleasing any audience.
Is that right? Well, you know what they say, no matter where you are, you need to make sure that you are bringing your best to everybody. And I have to say, that is something that I live my life by. So, what is it that you do?
Well, at the moment I'm travelling with my companion Zini.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Mamselle.
I
Prop work.
I do cook.
Is that right? Well, a woman of your stature and your place in class, I have to say that it is very, very rare that I come across one in the upper class of society who cooks for themselves. I have to say it is delightful to meet someone who is as passionate about it as I am.
Yes, I would say it's the driving force to create new dishes and new things. I must say, on this menu tonight, I'm interested to see what bold new strokes you've made.
Well, I think you will be very, very happy if I say so myself. If you like, I do not often do this, but of course it is a very, very special occasion and it is a little more intimate than the usual functions that I usually cook for. But if you would like to come in and observe me in the kitchen and perhaps learn 1 or 2 things, I would of course be more than delighted to have you.
Because I wouldn't want to take away your lovely presence from the rest of the guests here in this fine establishment.
Well, I will be nipping in and out between courses anyway, so if you change your mind, you are of course more than welcome. It would be a pleasure to have you, and I can teach you a few tricks of the trade if you would like. Delightful. Well, I must go and prepare the soup. I will see you in a moment. And he's walks off, cutting a swathe through the crowd as he does so. And by this stage, you can see Mistress Mixos is now coming back downstairs, and she comes over to you both and says, "Your bags have been deposited into your room. I believe you have your key already, but if you require anything else, I will be mingling among the guests as well. Please do not hesitate to take me away."
Thank you. Your hospitality is very much appreciated.
Well, matched only by the pleasure of your company. Are you good for drinks?
Yes, I would say so. Are you, Xenie?
Yes.
Lovely. Well, I will see you at the meal. And she slowly walks around, and you can see her talking with a few individuals. As she does so, Xenie, you notice the blue dragonborn from earlier. She's currently in discussion with one of the scholarly-looking gentlemen, but you can see that she's looking over at you occasionally, and as your eyes meet, she just gives a little wave and a little sort of cheers, and then returns to a conversation with, despite his very advanced years, a very animated conversation, and quite loud as well. And it sort of echoes a little around the room, but is nevertheless drowned out by the many other conversations that are happening. Is there anything else that you're wanting to do as you stand?
Just a retroactive comment. Xenie was very bad at holding her laughter in during the whole Houtan exchange.
You can see Juliet as well, as sort of her fur is a little on end as she looks up at you, Scarlett, and just...
I know, darling, I know. I drink the wine a little bit too quickly.
Just imagining Scarlett's hand on a spoon. It's just the tightest grip and knuckles going white.
Yeah. She's trying not to grow any claws at the moment. She's succeeding so far, but we'll see.
Well done.
It would be so simple if I ripped his throat out.
So meanwhile, outside, the rest of you, as you stand in the cold and as the snow starts to drift down, you can see that whatever Ostafar is doing in his room, he is now finishing. He picks up a pile of items and he moves out of sight. And with a silent, you see the candle go out. The room is dark. What are you all doing?
I would like to climb up to the window very quietly.
Okay, make a stealth check for me then, please.
Okay. Natural 20.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Dalifar and Oriana, as you see the light go out, you look to one another and to where Terra is to ask her what the plan is next, and she's already gone. And as you look over towards the trellis, you can see your friend clothed all in black, just climbing the trellis. Terra, as you peek over the top and into the room, you see a large four-poster bed. Dark brown bedside tables with rustic white walls with timber beams. You can see a couple of framed oil paintings hanging on the walls of various landscapes and vistas. And from your single window, you see a copper bed warmer hanging next to the four-poster, and besides a large oak wardrobe, there stands a large freestanding copper bath. But the room is empty.
Oh.
And you can just see the smoke from the candles still floating up into the dark room.
But we didn't hear the door shut or open.
We were way outside.
Okay. I'd like to. Can I know you've told me it's empty, but can I actually check if it's empty?
You absolutely can. Make a perception check.
I don't trust you.
I feel I've not earned this reputation. But...
Yet. You will.
11.
11. Looks empty. Looks completely empty.
Okay.
That's as close to seems empty as I don't like it.
Okay. Is it possible to see into the other room from here?
Yeah, I'd say, because they are next to one another, you could fairly easily climb across the trellis and look in. Again, very similar layout. The paintings are different, and the layout of the bed and the wardrobe are in slightly different places, but generally it is much the same. You see the bed, you see the bedside tables, the wardrobe, the bath.
Okay, I'm going to turn around to see the other two down on the ground and just gesture for them to maybe move so they wouldn't be seen from here, like towards the wall or away from it or wherever.
I want to move forward towards the wall and climb.
Oh, okay.
Well, how else are we going to get up? Because...
Well, I gesture for you to stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should wait until she is in.
I find, I assume being in the alleys, there are some dark spots, so just sort of hunker down in there.
Okay, sure thing.
Okay, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go for it.
Then I flatten myself against the wall to the side. Can I see how the window opens?
You can see that there is a latch on the inside and the windows slide up.
Okay, so yes, hopefully using my 20, I flatten myself against the wall, and then, like a bird would sound, I tap on the window.
Okay. Nothing happens. Sorry,
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you... Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was to initiate something, but yeah, there's... nothing appears to happen. No.
Okay, cool. So he's definitely not in there, so that's fine.
Unless he's just very comfortable with birds.
Yeah. Okay, in that case, I will, try and open the window quietly.
Okay, I'd say make a sleight of hand check for me.
Turns out Ostafar Gate's Cinderella.
Aww.
Or he just really likes playing hide and seek and he's just in the dark waiting.
Come find me.
What was that?
13.
13. So, sort of taking out your lock-picking tools, you're able to just slide it underneath the window. And after a little bit of jiggling, you're able to just push the latch off, rather. From here, it'll be fairly easy to lift the window.
Okay. So I'll wave down to the others. I'll do a little bit of a thumbs up.
Okay.
And then I will use invisibility.
Okay. So, you're going straight in?
I'll stick my head in, my invisible head, first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, still nothing? No one hidden to the sides of the walls or anything like that at all?
I'm so suspicious. Okay, yeah, I'll go in.
Okay, so you leap in. Dalifar and Oriana, what are you doing?
Going and climb after Terra.
Yep.
Okay. You both make your way towards the trellis. Can I ask you both to make stealth checks at disadvantage, please?
Come on, I'm going to get like a freaking 2.
Stealth. Not bad.
2.
14.
14. Okay.
14.
As you
What did you call that?
As you begin to ascend the trellis, Xenie and Scarlett, back in the Wilting Snowdrop, you see a figure start to descend the stairs and into the main area, bedecked all in red, and with his head sort of shining against the candlelight that flickers around, as well as the roaring fireplace that is off to one side. The individual that you suspect to be Ostafar Gate walks down and fairly immediately walks over to the bar, and he takes a glass of red wine and looks around the room for Mistress Mixos, and he just gives a thankful wave, and he looks over to Ostafar, and with a rather more serious look, he just cheers him. And you can see Ikreth just cheers back as well. So he is now mingling amongst the guests. Xenie, as you're all sort of intermingling, and Scarlett, you found that the two scholars have now come up to you, and they've introduced themselves as Ular Tunbridge and Simon Oscaris. And they come up to you and, well, hello. Well, what is it that what brings you to Baldur's Gate then?
Well, I travel all of Faerun, basically to explore culinary experiences.
Oh, fantastic. So I imagine that this, what is his name again? And the other one, the slightly more paunchy one, I believe his name was Boucher. Oh, yes, Boucher. Yes, I imagine that this must be quite an experience for you then.
Oh yes, certainly. An experience is definitely the best way to put it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, these are zucchini twists. They're very, well, what's the word I'm looking for? And the other one, twisty. Yes, twisty. They're very twisty. And they're very, no, they're very good. It's very nice. And while this conversation is going on, Xenie, you just sort of hear a behind you, and you can just see hovering over your shoulder in your periphery a shade of blue.
I turn around and face the Dragonborn, I presume that it is.
She sort of bows to you, and it is a pleasure to see another Dragonborn here, with the exception of you and Mistress Mixos. I've not seen any in my traveling. Well met. Sorry, I have not introduced myself. My name is Lumen Hader. Lumen Hader Sildek.
Sir Xenie.
Sir Xenie. Lovely. Well, I hope you don't mind me asking, but what part of the world are you from? Sorry, I've just never seen a Dragonborn with plumage before.
Oh, have you not?
No, I've not. I'm horny. Sorry, that was the wrong. that was. Please continue. You were saying.
But you've also got a tail, and I don't.
Yes, I do. I do. Yes. I'm from Harrowdale, originally near the Comanthor Forest, but
Do I know where that is?
Make a history check.
Oh yeah, history. 9.
You've not heard of it. You've heard the name Comanthor Forest, but that's it. You don't know where it's situated or anything like that at all.
Also, what was her name and how is it spelled?
So Lumen Hader. So Lumen, so Lumin, and then Hader, as in Bill Hader.
Is that all one word?
Yeah. So Lumen Hader, and then her last name is Shildek. So Shildec.
Lovely, thank you. I'm from the High Forest.
Really? What brings you to Baldur's Gate?
Oh, my friends have business in the city.
Well, please let us talk more. You'll have to tell me what is it that you do?
Odd jobs. No. Odd jobs here and there.
Really? Wow. What sort of, how odd are the jobs?
Depends on what your definition of odd is. What kind of thing do you do?
Well, I am the daughter of a diplomat. I hope to one day transition into that myself.
So a diplomat for the forest?
Well, no. So Harrowdale exists outside of the forest, but there are political goings on around there. At the moment, I am traveling to Waterdeep to. I hope to petition for some assistance from the Lord's Alliance. My mother has sent me out to take charge of this. It's something I'm very passionate about as well, and I hope to make a career out of it.
What kind of assistance are you after?
Well, I don't know how much you know. How long have you lived in the High Forest all your life? Or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Well, unfortunately, my reasons for traveling are not so pleasant as this meal. And as this is going on, you hear a large booming voice coming from behind you, and everyone turns to where the table is. As you see the large, rotund form of Houtan Boucher, his very handsome face beaming, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to take a seat at the table, dinner is served. Please, everyone come, everyone come." And she turns to you and goes, "Would you do me the honor of sitting with me? It would be lovely to talk more."
Sure. And I'm slightly distracted, looking if I can try and angle it so I can sit next to Ostafar or across from him without looking like I'm trying to do that.
Okay. Scarlett, with the announcement of the dinner, what are you wanting to do?
I think I probably similarly would want to do them talking business of Ostafar as well, so we could overhear any interesting conversations.
Okay. Well, you can see from the table, with there being 12 chairs in total, one at either end. Conversation, you're probably going to be able to overhear most, but yeah, I'd say both of you are probably able to be sat at opposite ends of the table, opposite sides of the table, rather. So as you approach, Scarlett, I would say that you probably end up opposite Ostafar, and in between, one of the women that you saw earlier, the one who was translating for the other one in sign, and on your right, Ikreth. And I would say for you, Xenie, you find yourself sat next to Lumen Hader. On her other side, there is Ostafar, and on the other side of you is Ular, the gentleman with the large, bushy sideburns. And Xenie, as you sit down, you can see that the fine china, on either side, there are 10 sets of cutlery, each getting smaller as they move out. And the glasses are made from some of the finest crystal you have ever seen. Scarlett, this is not a sight that you are unaccustomed with. This is about what you would anticipate and about what you would deserve, frankly. And Juliet
Which
comes...
is like not enough cutlery.
And
it was the fish course.
Yeah.
As everyone sits down, you note that Mistress Mixos is sat at one end of the table, and you can see that one seat has been left at the end, presumably for the chef himself. And as you all sit down, you can see bowls of the butternut squash soup that you ordered earlier on today, Scarlett, are being set before you. Meanwhile, outside, as you all clamber in, Terra, you see Dalafar, hooded, start to climb over the windowsill. And as this happens, you hear a distinct crack from down below, and Oriana, you fall down onto the pavement, on your feet, but the trellis has broken from beneath your feet. And as you look up, you can see Dalafar, and there is also an unseen Terror just looking over to make sure the cover is not blown, but you are down on the street as your friends are up in the room.
Quick question. I think I still have rope in my satchel.
Yeah?
I think I still do.
Most adventurers have an inordinate amount of rope.
Well, obviously I have to see this. I get up into the room, but lower the rope down to Oriana.
Okay, sure thing. I would say, once again, Oriana, make a stealth check at disadvantage. Actually, at not advantage, a straight check because Dalafar's helping you up.
That's what, sorry?
Just a straight stealth roll.
Okay. That's an 11.
Still clanking quite a bit, and Terra, you're just there invisibly in the corner, just shaking your head as the two noisiest members of the group sort of eventually are brought up into the room and turn around.
So I'm going to have unlocked the door.
Okay. It is a latch from the inside that you can easily do so.
Does it look like it's a key from the outside?
It does, yes.
Okay. So, and then I'm going to very gently open it and look outside.
Okay. Make a perception check for me.
21.
It seems quiet. You hear noise from downstairs, and you hear, "The soup is about to be served," and you see candlelight from the stairs, but the corridor is quiet and it is dark.
So I'll open the door so that they know they can go, because they can't see me. And then I'll wait.
Okay. So, Dalafar and Oriana, the door just silently opens in front of you into the corridor.
I can't see where Tara's gone. I sort of step out slowly and look up and down the hallways.
Yeah, for expediency's sake, yeah, same thing.
I then whisper as softly as I can, saying, "Can you get this lock to Ikrit's door?" Hoping that she'll hear me.
You hear a little sigh, and then I'll go and see what I can make of this lock.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Do I get my thieves' tools bonus?
Yes, you do.
So that's... I'm not sure on what I get to add to that. So I get to add my... So is it just like a sleight of hand plus proficiency?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. 13. So it's a fairly simple lock. It's one you've seen before. After all, it's only a tavern room. And you just put the pieces in and just slowly, Skyrim style, turn them in the lock. As you do so, you feel in your satchel something shaking, sort of vibrating a little, but as soon as you've opened the lock, it stops. But the door is open.
I have so many things in my bag. I was just looking at this. It could be anything.
But Dalafar and Oriana, you watch as the latch just... and the door inches forward.
So I'm going to leave that and go back to the other room.
Okay, sure thing. So...
Actually, no, I'm not sorry, but I'm going to leave the door. Yeah.
Okay, so Dalafar and Oriana, what are you doing?
I'm going to very carefully. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go into Ikrith Miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go first.
Yes.
Into Ikrith's room.
Okay. So, as you all enter your respective rooms, Terra, what are you doing?
I am going. Could you remind me what the layout of the corridor is? So it's just one straight corridor with the stairs at one end.
One straight corridor with, stairs at one end and rooms either side, odd on the left and even on the right.
And how far down the corridor are these two rooms?
They are sort of in the middle. So room 6 is in the middle, and then room 8 is one across from that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go maybe 5-10 feet towards the stairs, and then I'm gonna put 100 ball bearings on the floor.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go back into Osvargate's room and lock the door behind me.
Make a stealth check at advantage for me, please. 25. You delicately deposit these metal balls on the landing, and you make your way back to Ostafar's room. Meanwhile, downstairs, as you all take your seats and everyone there are murmurs of satisfaction as people are preparing to enjoy this meal. But there is a ding, 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 ding from one end of the table, and you see Houtan raise a glass and, "Hello, everyone. Will you join me in raising a glass to our host magnifique?" And he gestures across the table, and you see, if Mistress Mixos could turn a brighter shade of red, she probably would. She just looks around and just raises her hand in thanks. And she goes, Madame Mixos is to the finest inn and the finest innkeeper I have ever had the pleasure of visiting. This has been a tumultuous time for many in this city, not least for those of us now left without work. Oh, alas. But through it all, you have remained nothing less than an absolute joy. So, from myself and I imagine everyone else around this table, consider this our thanks. Cheers. And everyone just raises their glass a little and starts to tuck in. And you can see, Scarlett, that Ikreth just gives a sort of tacit little cheers and then immediately starts tucking into his food in front of him. So, is there anything that you're wanting to do as the meal continues?
And first of all, how is the soup?
It's similar to the one you had earlier today. You suspect, though, I would say, that what with it being cooked for now a lot more people, something like the process, probably a bit more spread out and probably not as refined. It is much more watery. The butternut squash isn't coming out as much. The spice it had earlier has been sort of thrown in a little bit more roughly. It's not quite as delicate as the first one you had.
Do I put it together that probably Madame Mixos made the first soup I had, and this is Houtan's inferior copy?
I'd say make an insight check for me.
Let me just get my app open. Hold on. The joys of doing this remotely. Right. I can't remember what my insight is actually. What does skill design? Oh, insight is wisdom, so I'm not too bad at it. 14.
14. You get the sense that while the recipe might be his, he probably wasn't the one who cooked it earlier. This bears the mark of Houtan.
I think my suspicions are confirmed. I am quite proud of myself. I think I've noticed sort of how Ikreth is reacting. How is Ostvar looking?
I'd say with your previous insight check, sort of looking around the table generally.
Yeah, people are the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to Scarlett, never a more apt phrase has been said. But yeah, Ostvar seems to be like listening to people's conversations, and he seems interested in what people are saying, and he'll laugh at the right moments, and he sort of offers a few things here and there as the conversation continues around the table. It is quite pleasant. And eventually you see that his eyes turn to you and he goes, "Now, I don't believe we've had the pleasure. I am Ostvar Gate."
Oh, lovely. My name is Scarlett. I must commend you on the choice of shade for your clothing. It is, of course, a beautiful colour.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. So what brings you to Baldur's Gate?
Well, I'm here with my companion, Xenie, and I gesture to wherever Xenie is, because I've forgotten already where we are. And I and my companion as well, they have their own walks in life, but I tend to travel to discover new culinary experiences, and, you know, I've been around Faerun a little, but not as much as I would like. How about you? What brings you to this lovely city?
Well, I rather more dry than cooking, unfortunately, but I am a librarian. My kitchen is that of paper and scrolls and parchment. Unfortunately, none of the spice of life that it sounds like you have. But no, I have come to Baldur's Gate on library business. I am traveling southwards to Candlekeep day after tomorrow to meet with the Keeper of Tomes. Just catch up after a long time, but it will be nice. It's been a good excuse to leave the confines of Waterdeep. I'm stuck there so much of the year. It is good to be out and about, especially in this bracing winter cold.
Oh, definitely. It's always lovely to meet old friends. So your library is in Waterdeep?
It is.
I was there not long ago. I don't think... Oh, I did visit the library just the once. Is it the main one you're a part of? It's very large. I found the cookbook section quite intriguing.
That is the one, yes. We are the vaults of Waterdeep.
sounds absolutely wonderful. I must say, libraries aren't that dry of a profession. I mean, where would cooking be without cookbooks? And, so much of our society is built on writing and letters and books, I think without your kind, the world would be a much less interesting place.
Well, I thank you for your kind words. There are those who probably would not agree, but it means a lot. I have much the same view of myself. Obviously, I am biased, but I think knowledge is important and it should be passed on from generation to generation. And if I can be a small link in that very important chain, then I'm happy to fulfill my duty.
Exactly, it's a wonderful thought.
This is my companion you're sat next to. He is traveling with me, Ikreth Mal. And Ikreth turns to you. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure, I'm Scarlett.
Lovely to meet you. What do you make of this soup?
Well, I have actually tried this soup before.
Is that right?
But I believe that was when it was created by the lovely Madame Mixot, rather than Houtan. And with cooking, chef's true colours always show through.
He, you notice, has placed his spoon down and looks as though he won't be returning to his soup. It's only half eaten, and he turns to you and says, I couldn't agree more. And as he looks down, he goes, oh my, what is this delightful little creature? May I?
Oh, of course, this is the light of my life. This is Juliet.
Oh, look at you. I have to say, it's not often one sees a displacer beast around these regions.
Oh, she was the victim of trafficking, poor thing.
Oh dear. Oh, she's so adorable. Yeah, down you go. So, have you come to Baldur's Gate to pursue the culinary?
To experience the culinary, I would say. I found that being cooped up in one location, experiencing the same thing day to day, rather stunts one's growth. It is important to get out there and see what the world has to offer.
Well, between you and me, I hope this meal hasn't put you off the experience too much. Only 7 courses to go.
Yes, of course, not that we're counting or anything.
Of course not. And he gives you a sly wink out of the corner of your eye. And Juliet gives a sort of approving. So, upstairs, what are the 3 of you doing? If Tara, we start with you.
So I've gone back into Osterfar Gates' room.
Okay.
And I've locked the door behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to first see if I can find the book that I saw.
Okay. I'd say make an investigation check for me.
Oh no.
Good omen.
6.
6.
Not a 3.
You look around, and there aren't many places where something could be hidden, but you look in the wardrobe and you see a quite small number of clothes hung up, and eventually you make your way to the bedside tables, and you can see there are a number of things in there, like toiletries and whatnot, but in the right-hand side one, you can see that there looks to be built into the bedside table a kind of lockbox, a safe of some kind, seemingly provided by the establishment.
Okay. Is it wooden?
It is, yes.
How is it locked?
There is a key on the front.
Oh, the key is there.
As in a keyhole.
How useful!
Well, I just fucking open it then. No. Keyhole.
Okay.
Sans key.
Can I check if it has been trapped?
You can make an investigation check for me.
Oh my goodness. 1.
Looks legit. Looks like a lock.
Okay. I will. With thieves' tools, can you relock something?
Yeah, I'd say you probably could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll unlock it.
Okay.
Hopefully.
So I'd say make a sleight of hand
It's
check.
just obviously not trapped. Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
I would know.
Ed starts rolling furiously.
It's not going very well. So I'm doing a thieves' tool thingy, aren't I? So I think that's the same as last time. 13.
13. So, once again, you just place your tools in, and as it clicks, you once again feel a small vibration in your satchel. And you pull back the door, and you can see that there are 2 levels, two very small shelves. On one, there is a small parcel wrapped in cloth, and on top of this, you also see what looks to be an unsealed letter.
Okay. When did the vibration happen? As it unlocked or as I was unlocking it?
You only notice sort of as you are starting to unlock it.
So would it have been possible to leave the pick in there while it's vibrating and then look in my bag to see what it is?
Absolutely. Make a perception check for me.
Oh my word. So awful. 7. I rolled a 2.
In between everything that you have in there, it's hard to tell. You can feel it against your waist, but it's hard to tell what it is. It's definitely something inside, though.
Okay. Can I tell if it was a big thing or a small thing?
It felt quite small. It was like a small buzzing.
Doesn't narrow it down.
You left your phone on vibrate. That's it.
Okay. So there's a letter, right?
There's a letter on top of a small parcel.
Okay, and it's unsealed, so readable, presumably, without
you would assume
breaking it. Okay. I will carefully... I'm wearing gloves. I'll just specify.
Mm-hmm.
I will...
So the fancy forensic team don't get you later.
I was thinking more if it, erupts into flames or something. I'll pick it up.
So, unfurling it, you read the following. Dearest Ostafar, it is an unexpected pleasure to hear from you again after all this time. I must confess, though I have long hoped for a return to Waterdeep, not least to visit your magnificent library, my work as Keeper of the Tomes keeps me busier than I would like, precluding me even from the luxury of writing to you. Of course, it would be our honour to receive you at Candlekeep. It should go without saying that a friend of the library such as yourself requires no entrance gift. However, you seem insistent, and far be it for me to dissuade you from gracing our halls with such a tome as the one you offer. If it is half as ancient and valuable as you claim, it will make a worthy addition to our repository of knowledge. As for the second part of your request, while unorthodox, there is certainly no reason we cannot open up our vaults and allow you access to the requested item. As with all our rarest acquisitions, you will be required to be accompanied by the Avowed of Candlekeep, and I am happy to provide this service for you myself. And while you are, of course, permitted to view any and all literature within our walls, the duplication of such materials is strictly prohibited. Forgive my bluntness, but as a fellow preserver of knowledge, I am sure you understand. I look forward to your arrival. Simply present this parchment alongside your generous offering, and you and your companion shall be granted entry. My fondest wishes, Sabina Menthold of Candlekeep.
Okay. Can you please send me that?
Yes.
I can actually write down everything.
I'll do that in the break.
Okay. What can I see how big the parcel is?
Yeah, it looks, for lack of a better description, roughly book-shaped.
Does it look like the same size as the book I saw?
I would say you can probably hazard a guess, yes.
Okay, so I'll put the letter back exactly how it was.
Okay.
And then I'll relock the box.
Okay. You do so.
It will vibrate.
Nothing happens this time.
Definitely know I'm here.
So,
sorry, go on.
Is there anything else you're doing in the room?
Not at the moment, I don't think.
So, Dalifar and Oriana, what are you doing?
I would like to I will see what Dalifar does and follow his lead, seeing as this is a room that he is very interested in.
Okay, so Dalifar, what are you doing?
I mean, that makes sense. I was just going to say, oh, such a cop-out. So first of all, I'm going to check if there's anything to indicate that this room is trapped or in any way, or sort of any kind of alert that will let him know that I've been in the room.
Okay, make an investigation check.
17.
17. Doesn't look like there's any traps.
Okay.
It looks like a very well-kept bedroom, but a bedroom nonetheless.
Okay, so the first thing I do is close the door behind me after Oriana's in and unlatch the window.
Okay.
And then I will, I suppose Ikret's luggage is in the room, obviously. I would like to sort of carefully see if I can get into it.
Okay, so I'd say make an investigation check to see what you find in the room first.
Okay.
Can I do the same?
You can, absolutely.
That is a 21.
21.
I
am very committed.
I got a 15.
15. So, as you're each walking around, Oriana, you find inside the wardrobe a large amount of clothes. There are a lot. And you could also find that there is sort of empty bags at the bottom of the wardrobe as well. In the around the room, there's not much else. There is only really the wardrobe and the bedside tables. But Dalifar, as you're looking around, you too find a very similar inbuilt lockbox into the bedside table. In terms of the luggage and whatnot, it looks like it is just clothes. There's a couple of bits of parchment for writing letters and whatnot, but it is mostly just clothes and toiletries and necessities for the road.
Does the little safe look like it is locked?
It does. There is a keyhole in the front.
I don't suppose you know how to pick locks.
Do I look like I can pick locks?
No, I didn't think so. I sort of carefully go through his luggage anyway.
Okay. I'd say with your previous investigation check, you find shoes, clothes, parchment, little else.
Okay. Oh.
Do it.
Yeah, I think at this point Dalifar is so committed to what he needs to do, so I'm going to see if I can open the lock.
Okay. Make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
Boy. Oops, sorry, that fell on the floor.
The sleight of hand check went well then.
14.
14. With surprising dexterity, though it is quite rough going. And as it's happening, Oriana, you're just in the back, kind of.
What are you
he twists it
using?
round. Yeah, what are you using, Billy?
I think, you know, because of the blacksmith's bag, you'd have like pieces of metal or like I don't know, like pieces of iron or filings or like a locksmith's tool to some chisel down stuff as well.
So I would say with that, and also because picking locks not really your speciality, so
Breaking
is a little
Breaking
higher.
Breaking
As you're sort of twisting, it does indeed sort of give, but there is a distinct inside, and it's unlocked, but it's hard to tell if it will relock.
Okay, I open the safe.
Okay. Inside, you find only two things. There is a very long, very beautifully designed ivory dagger. And next to this, there is a small stone. Very small, about, palm-sized.
Okay. Can I see if I can work out what the stone is?
Yeah, so if you make a history check with your stone cunning proficiency.
So proficiency bonus to whatever I roll, right?
Yeah. And double the proficiency as well.
Double the proficiency, so that'll be a 6. What's my history? I mean, so I rolled a 19. My proficiency bonus is 3, so double that 6, and my history is +2. So
okay. You would know from the items that you and Terra have been carrying, this is 1/2 of a pair of sending stones.
Okay. I look at the dagger. Is it remarkable in any way, or is it just a dagger? Has it got the sheath, or is it just sort of by itself in me?
No, just by itself. From looking at it, I'll say I'll use your history check, but bump half the proficiency off. It seems to just be a normal dagger, possibly ornamental in nature, but other than the fact that it is made of ivory, nothing seems to stand out particularly. It is beautiful, though. It is very beautiful.
Okay. I close the safe and I try to lock it again.
It doesn't. As you try and put the bits of metal in and try and twist it back into position, you can sense it's probably not going to help. Whatever has happened to the lock, it is already damaged. It won't close.
I mean, Dalfar's great at breaking stuff. He's not very great at putting it back together again. So I relatch the window, but unlock the door to go back into Ostafar's room.
So sorry.
I relatched the window because I unlatched it before because I was thinking that would be my escape route, but keep the door closed in case you came back.
Okay.
But I relatched the window, but unlock the door to go out into Ostafar's room.
Okay, sure thing. It is closed. And Terra, you are in there alone. Is there anything else you're wanting to do while you're in the room?
I'm just going to have one more look around.
Okay.
At anything.
Make an investigation check.
It's not as bad. 18.
18. Nothing. It appears that anything of note probably existed in that lockbox.
Okay. I'm going to shut the window and go out into the corridor and then start locking the door behind me.
As you do so, you see Dalafar coming out, unable to see you, but just coming out into the corridor. And as you are about to bump in the corridor, I say we'll go back down to the meal. So, Xenie, is there anything you're wanting to do at all?
Just listening to Ostafar and Ikreth on and off.
Okay.
Without looking too suspicious.
Okay. I'd say make a general perception check for me.
Okay. It's not great, because it's a 2, so that's an 8.
So you aren't able to get much of what they're saying, partly because you are next to one of the scholars who is talking very, very loudly. And you see that he has now started a conversation with the two ladies across on the other side of the table, who you find out are called Ladies Dorath and Andrea Valintha. And they are indeed married, and you come to understand that they have recently returned from the Icewind Dale, but they are originally from Neverwinter. And as they're talking, you see that one of the scholars, Ular, has become particularly interested in this, and he goes, Neverwinter. As a noble from the city, and speaking myself as one who dabbles in artificing and the technological, I have to ask, what do you make of the recent spate of machines coming out of Neverwinter? It seems to me that the smokestacks are never-ending these last year. And Lady Dorath turns to Lady Andrea, and they sign between themselves for a moment before Andrea turns and, my wife says she does not know. it has been some time since we were last there, and industry is not her field. That's a shame. They are most impressive machines of metal and steam. When I last visited the city, when I was, we went there to look for permission to use their observatories. But when we were last there on our way in, I saw them being tested from afar in the fields surrounding incredible machines. Fire raining down upon the ground, and their voices, they can be heard from miles around. They are, what's the word I'm looking for? Extraordinary. Extraordinary! They are extraordinary. And this is sort of very, very distracting. And as this is going on, there have been a few more courses. The stuffed peppers have come out as the appetizer, and you are now all enjoying an axe beak egg salad for your salad course. And as this is going on, Xenie, the figure next to you, Lumen Hader, she just turns and, are you enjoying the meal?
Yeah, kind of. It's a bit loud.
Oh, well, hopefully it will die down a little as people get a little bit more full. But, so, did you grow up in the high forest?
Yeah.
Yeah? And did you grow up in a country house or some kind of neighboring town? Or
Sort of. There's a village, but, hung around in trees and stuff.
Oh, well, it sounds very exciting. Very exciting, if I say so myself.
Okay.
Well, as someone who is mostly city-bound, I am stuck between buildings. I'm stuck between, endless offices and people demanding my attention. I imagine there must be a certain freedom that comes with it.
Yeah, it's horrible in cities, isn't it?
It's not nice. I don't enjoy it myself. I have only occasionally been out for walks around the Cormanthor forest, but obviously it is deep and dark and we're not encouraged to go too far in, but...
Why?
Well, there are rumors of the elves still being very territorial around there, but for the most part, it is peaceful and lovely, and obviously I am not as versed in the forests as you are, so I would not be much of a match for any of the creatures that walk around. Wolves, I hear, and owlbears, but I go for walks as and when I can. It is a lovely break from all that I do.
Great.
She also looks a bit awkwardly at her meal and tucks in. The three of you upstairs. What are you doing?
Having seen Dalifar come out of the room, I don't think I lock the door.
Okay.
I just... Go on.
I was going to ask, because we're coming out at the same time, do I see that door coming closed?
I see, you see it opening and starting to close again.
I sort of stop in my tracks and say, Tara, I think I broke a lock.
Oh dear. Do you want me to have a look at it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'll proceed to lock the door, unless... Do you look like you're wanting to go into that room?
No, I just go back into Eclipse room.
So yeah, I'll relock that door and then follow him in.
Okay. So, as you go in and attempt to fix the broken lock...
Well, I'm going to use mending.
Oh, in that case, very easily.
But it makes me visible again.
Okay.
Nice.
So, as you all huddle inside and as you press your hand against the lock and you hear it as it just fixes itself back up again. The two of you now see Terra in front of you, crouching before the lock. And that's where we'll take our break.
Hey.
So we'll be back in a little bit to finish up the
say, and the voice of Ostfargate.
Oh, well, I should go to bed early. It's past my bedtime. We will be back in a little bit. But in the meantime, stay safe. Drink. It's very warm. And we'll be back in a bit. But
See you in a minute.
See everyone in a bit. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Billy. This is Ed.
Sorry, I got lost in your eyes. You can check us out. Give us a like, subscribe. You can have a look on Patreon as well. You can donate some money if you'd like.
Some support is always very welcome. The channel's just going, and it's always very great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just gonna get back to the episode now and see what's going on.
Yeah, we'll do that. And welcome back. So, as Terra, you fix the lock in Ikreth's room, and it slowly fits back into place. Your invisibility drops, and the three of you are now alone in Ikreth's room. The eerie quiet of the outside reverberating around. So, what are the three of you wanting to do?
I'm going to open the window, not knowing that Dalafar had just closed it. I'm just like, why didn't he open this window when he was in here?
Okay, so, yep, you're able to slide it, and there's a distinct chill that comes through as you do so. And the flecks of snow come in, but they sort of dissipate as soon as they touch any surface.
I follow after Tara. Yeah, you're going through out the window?
Yeah, I think I'll just glance around this room since I haven't actually looked in this room at all.
Okay, I'll say make a perception check.
Oh, good. I thought that was a 1, but it wasn't. That's good. 12.
Much the same as the other room. Layout is slightly different, as you saw from outside, but it appears that Ikreth carries a fair number more clothes than Ostafar does, but other than that, the room seems much the same.
I might just nip outside and get those ball bearings. If it seems safe to do so.
You dropped 100.
Yes, I did. Okay, I'm not going to do that. It's not that suspicious. Anyone could have dropped them.
Particularly complex necklace.
Yeah. They're all posh and fancy.
Do I see you going towards the door?
I don't think I'm actually going to do it.
Okay.
You're right, there are 100. So yeah, I'm going to exit out the window.
Okay. Are all of you following?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say make a stealth check, and for Dalafar and Oriana, it's disadvantage.
I was hoping you'd say athletics check.
Oh man, I rolled a 19 on my first one.
Natural 20 on my first roll.
That's a 3.
27.
Ooh. Stealth. 17.
17. So, once again, Terra, you are able to climb down fairly quietly. Dalafar, despite your armor, you feel you've been learning from Terra in your time together, and so you sort of observe what she's doing and sort of mimic as best you can. Oriana, as you were climbing down, once again, the trellis just, and you just, and there is a distinct as various trellis bits break. They are brittle because of the cold weather outside, and you once again land on the ground, but there is quite a sound.
Sorry, go on.
I was about to say, a sound that you hear from inside Xenie. Your back is against the wall, but you can hear distinctly from outside. And as you do so, you also notice Ikreth just look up towards the wall and just cock his head a little bit and then return to his meal. He takes a spoon, but you can see as he stood next to Scarlett, who is currently, you are the recipient of some questions from Ostafar Gate, as he's asking you, so where does much of your inspiration come from then?
That's a very good question for you to ask. I would say I was born up north. I've spent some time in Neverwinter, so
Is that right?
cuisine has, very much rubbed off on me. Neverwinter, hence the name, has very little time for winter, so a lot of the dishes there are quite light and, good for the warm weather. But on a more, I suppose, broad basis, I'm inspired by what cooking can do. I mean, you can take some leaves, ground up some plants, a random dead animal and make something that makes the palate soar with senses. It's a fantastic act of transmutation.
Well, it sounds remarkable. And what circles did you move in Neverwinter, out of interest?
When I first entered Neverwinter, it was very much like the lower city here, different inns and places, but I could, with my time, get to know some of the higher types in Neverwinter. I met the High Librarian there, yes, Lex, the Page Master.
Ah, Lex, I know him well.
That's canon.
Yeah, I'm making a note of it.
A fine gentleman with a very fine appreciation of good food.
Remind me, what does he look like again?
Oh yeah, he's quite a tall man.
Tall, yeah.
Is Supermanian.
Greying at the temples. Rather thin. Does not look like the type that would enjoy his food, but very much a great appreciator of the arts. He has one hand. To a book.
A book accident.
Stefan just looks at you and goes, "Ah, yes, I remember now. How could I forget the one-handed High Librarian of Neverwinter?"
Say the name, Ed.
Lex, the Page Master.
This is going so well.
Top quality content.
As this conversation is continuing, Xenie, you notice that Ikreth has moved from eating with both sets of cutlery to just his fork, and you can see that his hand is slowly reaching under the table, and he just sits there a moment, just eating, and then he pauses. Dalifar, can you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Oh, no.
Can I also say I've been mending the trellis?
Yes, frantically.
Did who was the last person to go out? Did we close the window as a hindsight?
I assumed it was Oriana because she kind of fell behind us.
Okay, wisdom saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Is the window, can I ask, is the window closed or is it still open?
I would say because you fell out, it is still open.
Okay, can I use thaumaturgy to close that window?
You absolutely can. And this doesn't necessarily add to the stealth. There is a from about as it just slams shut. What did you roll, Billy?
13.
As I see that happening, can I accidentally drop my fork onto the floor underneath the table and then shove the table as I go underneath it by accident?
Yeah, sure. I'd say make a strength check for me.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's a 3.
So you roll down and you sort of push forward, and your head just hits one of the legs, and you just feel this ringing. As you are underneath, though, you do get a small glimpse of the various knees and legs that are underneath the table, and next to...
Well, you were saying he had several legs.
And next to Scarlett's very beautiful dress, and next to Xenie, you can see that Ikreth appears to be cradling what looks to be a small piece of copper. Dalifar, outside, you feel something intrusive in your mind, in your thoughts. Someone is listening to your thoughts.
Oh no.
Am I aware that they're listening specifically to my thoughts?
You are aware that someone is in your mind.
Do you tell us that?
I say I feel odd, like someone is in my head, and I immediately start thinking of snow. I just start repeating the word. Actually, no, not snow. Beer. I start to just say beer. For as long as I'm feeling this sensation,
you nevertheless feel a probing sensation.
Can I take off my salamander ring and put it on Dalafar's finger?
Go for it.
Absolutely. You take it off.
I'll let that happen.
As this is happening, Xenie, as you bring yourself back up, and as you're hearing the very colourful description of Lex Pagemaster across the table, you see Ikreth just twitch his head.
Put it back together, man.
Just twitch his head again, and you see him suddenly just look around the table, and he seems to be taking in each person one at a time. And then his eyes rest on you, and he just squints a little bit. Can you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please?
Okay.
I want to get me that stone. That would be a cool magic item.
It's a piece of copper he has.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a 7.
He looks at you, and you feel something inside of your mind. You feel a strange presence. It is not your own. And he just looks at you, and his eyes, very bright and wide for the rest of the evening, start to darken. And he just looks at you, and his head starts to bow. And he stands and says to Ostifer, "Excuse me," and slowly starts to walk up the stairs.
Upon seeing that, the sending stone works mentally, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
It does, Father. Done. Lovely. I think I will nonchalantly touch my sending stone, which I assume I put somewhere.
I assume you've probably got a bag or something.
Yeah.
You just bring it out. Yeah, he's on his way up.
Anyway, how many words do I get again? I don't.
25.
25. Oh God, that's a lot. I will say something.
It's not like a goal. You don't have to use 25.
Yeah, every single one.
Yes, it is. This is well established.
Yeah, I think I will say, Ikreth, on the move. You should leave now. If you can. Did I see that he looked? I probably didn't.
Probably not with your passive, no.
No, that's fine. I don't have the best perception. And also, I was having a very good conversation with my new friend, Astafar Gate, about our shared friend, Lex, who is the life of the party. I think maybe just let me know when you're safe, which I think is within 25.
Okay. So, outside, as Terra, you slip the ring on, and Oriana, you're watching this as sort of there is a panic going on. None of you are really sure what's going on. But what are you doing?
Mended.
What, sorry?
Is the trellis fully mended?
I would say by this stage, yeah. And like I say, Oriana has shut the window above. And who is it who has the sending stone?
I do.
You do. So Dalafar, as you have the ring put onto your hand, you get this message from the sending stone.
Does it still work if he has a salamander ring on?
Yeah.
It does, yes.
Okay. It's not mind reading, I suppose.
Yeah.
I sort of look up after that sensation has dissipated and say, Chris is on the move. I don't think we should be around if he were to look around, so we need to move now.
All right, let's go.
As we're walking, can I take my cloak off but drag it behind us and hopefully try and fill the footsteps as we leave to make it sort of just pour snow behind us?
Sure.
Oh, yes.
I'd say make a survival check.
How good am I at survival? Yes. I mean, that depends on the roll. 24.
24. Yep, you are able to just brush it as you go, and you are all legging it in the direction. And as Oriana, you look back, you can see that just in the window, a candlelight has been lit as the three of you run. So Xenie and Scarlett, what are you doing?
Is the present still in my head?
No, it's gone now.
Okay. I just look at Scarlett and tap my temple, and then just go back to trying to listen to the conversation whilst being as nonchalant as I can, but slightly disconcerted that something else has come into my head and managed to get something mentally.
Okay. As you're there, the sort of Andrea from across the table just reaches over and, are you all right?
Just a slight headache. I think I maybe drank something a bit too quickly.
Not a problem. Well, it looks as though we'll be taking a break soon. And Houtan goes, yes, of course. Now that we have all finished the Blood Orc, we only have 2 courses left to go. So a little palate cleanser, I think, is in order. If you look over to the bar, we will have prepared some dragon spice tea for everyone. So please go to the bar, get up, mingle once more, and I will have the second main and then our dessert ready for when you are all prepared to fill your bellies once more. And everyone just kind of, hey, but it seems a little more labored this time. Everyone's like, whew, as they stand up. But everyone starts to stand and make their way over to the bar. And Ikreth has not returned. But Ostafar stays. He's currently in conversation with one of the scholars, and you overhear them talking about a recent permission given to have access to the observatories of Neverwinter to observe an oncoming comet by the name of Amaryllis. And the scholars seem particularly excited about this new development in their career. From where they are, El Terrell, there isn't that much in terms of observatories present, and Neverwinter being the height of technology, obviously there is a lot more on offer. And Ostafar is nodding politely as he slowly goes and takes some tea. But Scarlett and Xenie, what are you doing as this is happening?
I don't think I would have particularly understood what the tap on the head meant, other than like, it's about Ikreth, he's gone. So I think I will try and naturally make my way over to Xenie so we can maybe have a quick few words.
Yeah.
But before I do so, just out of interest, the information they were talking about earlier, so this is a bit away, about the machines in Neverwinter.
Yes.
Would I recall that from my time in Neverwinter, or is that like a very new development?
It's within the last year, so it's a fairly recent development. So I think, after your time there. But you would know that as a city, it is technologically leaps and bounds ahead of most of the rest of the Sword Coast. So not necessarily a surprise, but it sounds very different to what you will have witnessed while you were there.
Yeah, she likes to keep informed about what she's missed in all this time. So if I will make my way over to Xenie, wherever she currently is.
Juliet follows.
Yeah.
I presume you let them know.
Oh yes, and I tap my bag where the sending is.
He can read people's minds a bit, I think.
Oh, one of those, yes.
One of those?
Yes.
Lots of people can do that, can they?
Well, I don't think many, but certainly some.
Oh, that's great.
You know, there are some people whose talents are less creating a large fireball and more, mental based.
As you're talking, Xenie, you sense a presence behind you, and a voice says, might I get you both some tea? It's awfully chilly out.
Who is it?
You recognize the tone as Ikreth.
Yes, please. I'd like dragon spice tea.
Yes, it's being served quite early in regards to the rest of the courses, but I'm sure I will have a taste.
He takes 2 cups and saucers and hands them over to you, and then he takes one for himself. And you can see that Xenie, he is looking at you quite intently. And I don't think either of you ever told me why you came to Baldur's Gate.
Interject when when we're getting away and we're far enough away, I do send a message back saying we're out, we're safe. Something might be wrong. Be careful.
So I
also send fireball as a signal. That's what I send. If fireball,
big signal.
Fireball.
Oh, you said fireball as a signal. You
fireball
as you said in the message.
No.
You've done your You've dug your burning grave. Now you must.
Fireball as a signal if trouble. There you go.
As the cups and saucers are being prepared, Scarlett, you feel this in your mind. And Icareth returns.
The message I feel in my mind, yes.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know if I might have time to communicate out to Xenie, but I'm at least relieved that they haven't all died horribly. Icareth comes down, wiping blood off his dagger.
Just licking it off, just nom, 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 nom.
Just much better than the rest of them. That's good. Well, for myself, as I've explained to your colleague, is it Ostafargate? I merely travel wherever I like to experience the culinary delights.
And you're interested in this as well?
No, but Scarlett's my friend, and I enjoy travelling with her.
And you're travelling alone?
No, we also have my other friend, Rodigan.
You're not travelling with a dwarf, are you?
A dwarf? Could you be more specific? There's quite a lot of them.
I travel with lots of dwarves.
Like,
I'm friends with lots of people.
A whole 7, you might say.
His name would be Dalifar.
We've met a Dalifar, haven't we, Scarlett?
Is he a dangerous character, this Dalifar?
I wouldn't say so, no.
I think we met. I think we met somebody called Dalifar once, didn't we?
White hair.
Make a deception check.
Yeah, this is terrible. Like
both of us.
However you'd like to do it. I'd say both roll deception.
This is terrible. I'm not planning on lying tonight because my deception is Oh my god. 18, it continues. My
17.
My charisma is just terrible.
He looks at you both and just takes a sip of tea and places it back down on his saucer before placing it on the bar. And he just places his hands in front of him and just, well, if you see this Dalifar again in your travels, tell him the Ivory Silent are watching.
The what now?
The Ivory Silent.
Sorry, that was out of character.
Oh, okay.
Does that ring any bells?
No, it does not. And he just looks at you and he'll understand what it means. If, of course, your paths cross.
Of course, I understand completely. I'm surprised you came back down to experience the rest of the meal at Greth. I thought perhaps you had decided to leave as a statement of solidarity against the cuisine.
It turns out some things are worth stomaching.
For the company, I see.
No doubt, Lady Scarlett. And he just disappears and heads off towards Ostafar and just whispers in his ear and then returns and continues mingling with the group. You can see Ostafar give him a slightly confused look, but then turn back to the very, very officious scholars who are like, and one of the most exciting things about, and he just nods along. And the two of you are left alone in this sea of individuals who are moving around you.
I tap my bag again and go, well, they're safe.
Well, I suppose we should stay for the other two courses. It'd look a bit suspicious if, after Ikrith has interrogated us, we chose to leave now.
Yes, certainly. It would be, as much as it would be preferable to leave, I think we ought to try and get through the rest of the evening.
So, the three of you who are outside, where are you headed? What are you doing? And how would you like to do it?
I assume we're heading towards the inn, but...
Yeah. Dripping tap.
Well, I voiced my opinion and say I sent Scarlett a message to signal with, in my defense, what she suggested, a fire if there is trouble. So I suggest we keep nearby. She did. Don't look at me like that.
I did. This is on me.
Oh no, yeah, that's right.
But also, fireball is not what I suggested.
I mean, fireball, the commonality there.
So you want to stay within sight of smoke and flames?
Yes.
Okay, we better stay around here then.
Okay.
I look around. Is there sort of a high vantage point nearby?
There are roofs. Unlike a lot of the roofing in the lower city, a lot of it is quite ornate and would be quite hard to balance on properly. Also, while there are nooks and crannies with which to climb up, getting a good words entirely gone. But basically getting a good balance would be difficult.
I am not attempting to climb anything again.
Are you sure you're okay staying nearby with whatever happened just then?
Whatever it is, it's gone thanks to, and I hold up the ring. Would you mind if I just held on to this for a moment?
It's fine by me. Oriana has another one, I think.
I will slip my ring on just in case.
Sure thing.
I'm going to try and find an alley to, a few alleys away, but within eyesight of the Wilting Snowdrop, just to keep a watch. But I don't know what's going to transpire. But I would like to keep an eye on the window that Scarlett and Xenie are going to be staying in.
Okay. Are you all observing together, or are you branching off, or...?
We can take shifts if you don't want to stay.
Are you suggesting we stay all night?
Would you rather leave Xenie and Scarlett without help?
No, I'm just wondering what your plan was.
At this stage, I'm not exactly sure. But if what happened to me was something I did not expect, and if it could happen to me, it could happen to them.
Okay.
So staying on hand might be very helpful.
I can find us a cozy alleyway to stay in.
I've been in worse. This would be fine.
So you're all hunkering down?
Yeah.
Take shifts.
Yeah.
So you'll sort of sleep in the alleyway for the night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure thing. So who's taking the first watch?
I can.
Mm-hmm. Sure thing. So make a perception check as the other two go to sleep.
Oh dear. Natural one.
It's very dark, and the snow is picking up a bit, creating a slight fog. It's hard to tell, but you sit there regardless. You have faith in Xenie and Scarlett's ability to handle themselves. And you sit back in the alley, and sitting in amongst the crates and barrels and along the rather nicer streets, it harkens back to your childhood. Harkens back to the time you used to spend in Baldur's Gate. Reminds you of the people you ran with. It reminds you of Will, of Mary, reminds you of Joanne. And you sit and you almost enjoy the cold. So Scarlett and Xenie. Eventually, the second main is brought out. It is a very large, very ostentatious, roasted wild boar. And eventually, this is carved through fairly quickly by everyone present. And eventually, it is time for the dessert as well. Rather lovely vanilla creme brulee with freshly picked berries. Scarlett, the creme brulee is a little more burnt than you would perhaps like, but...
More brulee than creme.
Precisely, exactly. But, Xenie, this is one of the tastiest meals you've ever had. It's certainly one of the most varied, though whether Scarlett would agree that's a good thing is another matter entirely. But it is very nice. And as you're sort of sat there and enjoying your meal, one of the scholars, the slightly more pudgy one, turns to you and says, not very much from you, but how long are you staying in Baldur's Gate?
Not really sure, to be honest. It depends how long we choose to stay, or my companion, whether her tastes are satisfied at any point, or she has a degree of wanderlust about flavours and things, so...
Well, very nice. It must be nice to be so carefree with where you go and where you choose to rest your head for the night.
Yeah, carefree, that's us.
Oh, lovely. And what about your blue friend here and Lumen Heidegger? Oh, no, we are... we're separate. I am not with them. I'm on my own, headed to Waterdeep. Yes. Oh, apologies. Sorry, I didn't mean to make the Dragonborn connection. And she goes, "It's fine. You don't see a lot of us down here. It's okay." No,
yeah, this is the first time I've been in the same room as two other Dragonborn in a very long time.
And Mistress Mixos leans forward and goes, "Are there not many Dragonborn from where you come?"
No, none.
None? That's very strange.
Is it?
Well, I assume you have family?
Yeah. But none of them are Dragonborn.
She nods, sort of understandingly, and she looks over to the fireplace and points to the sword above the stone and just, "That is all that remains of mine. It was my father's. And since then I have known what it is like to be a lone voice in amongst a strange place. I don't know if that experience crosses over with yours at all, but..."
Sometimes. Where are you from?
I am originally from Luskan. Far norther, much colder, but my father was a military man. He was a knight errant, and he went out, and I rarely saw him. But when he came back, it was he who taught me the pleasantries of society, and it was he who taught me how to run a tavern. And unfortunately, I lost him 30 years ago, just after I set this place up. But I think he would have enjoyed it.
I'm sure he would.
And what about you, dear? And she turns to Lumen Hayden. What of your business in Baldur's Gate? And Lumen Hayden goes, "Oh, well, I was going to tell Lady Xenie here earlier, but
Just Xenie.
My apologies. Well, I am a diplomat. I'm traveling to Waterdeep to seek assistance. And as she looks around, you can see that a number of different faces around the table are now turned towards this three-way conversation between Dragonborn, and she looks a little embarrassed, and there is a war happening to the east. raging, in fact. Many of our Dragonborn brothers and sisters are suffering as a result. It has been simmering for many years now, lifetimes even, but a little over a decade ago, it reached its zenith. And one of the great Dragonborn cities fell. The great city, in fact. And now both sides of the war are all but decimated. Survivors are few and far between. And at this, you can see the drow woman who, over the course of the meal, you understand to be an art collector. She just goes, "My God, I had no idea." And Hader goes, "Well, if you do this far west, regardless, I head to Waterdeep to appeal for assistance from the Lord's Alliance. Whilst I am only an outside observer from my hometown of Harrowdale, I hope that something can be done to stem this senseless loss of life. It makes no sense to me, and I feel that we have a duty, even a responsibility, to do something about it." And from opposite you, Scarlett, Ostafar just raises a glass and says, "The Alliance is powerful, and their resources are great. I hope you find what you seek in Waterdeep." And Lumen Hader just, "Thank you." And sort of opens her arms in a sort of, "That's it," kind of motion and resumes her eating. And Houtan just goes, "Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed their meals, and allow me to wash up after everyone, but I imagine there's some sort of coffee." And he points to Mistress Mixos, who's looking rather somberly in the direction of Lumen Hader, and she sort of starts and, yes, I will have the beverages. If you want to stay, continue talking, obviously you're more than welcome. I will help you clear the table, Master Boucher." And he goes, "Please, allow me." And he starts collecting everything up. And everyone starts to stand and move towards the bar, and Lumen Hader goes from your side, as does the scholar Ular. And for you, Scarlett, Ikreth rises, and he... Sorry, just this...
So sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's Juliet going across the table, it's fine.
Yeah.
And Ikreth also stands, though, keeping rather more to himself, but everyone heads off in the direction of the bar and starts to drink and mingle. And it is rather more low energy now. Everyone seems, after 10 courses, very much sated. But you are left at the table. What are you wanting to do?
Scarlett, my headache's got a bit worse. I'm going to go up to the room if that's all right.
Would you like me to accompany you, Zini?
No, you continue to enjoy yourself. And if anyone asks, just apologise for me if you don't mind.
Okay. Do let me know if you need any help, though.
Thank you. If I'm asleep when you get up there, you probably won't be able to wake me up, so don't worry about making any noise.
Okay.
I've slept in a forest with lots of birds.
I mean, I don't think I sound like a bird, but I will try to be quiet.
That's a good point, but I've also slept very close to a rhino, so I think you'll be okay.
Again, I don't think I sound much like a rhino, but point
I've
taken.
slept in the same room as you. Your snores... Never mind. It's canon, because I said it. That's how this works, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Zini, you head up to bed, and you catch a couple of glances, and you can see that Ostafar looks at you and just gives a kindly wave. As you're walking, you can see Ikreth just sort of, his eyes follow you up the stairs. And you catch a brief glimpse of Mistress Mixos, who raises a cup. And next to her, Lumen Hader, who similarly just waves at you as you head on up.
I just nod once and keep going.
Okay. So your room is at the end of the corridor, and as you open, you see some of the most ostentatious beds you've ever seen. Large poster beds with around 6 pillows on and very thick mattresses. It is very fancy.
Is there anywhere that looks quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's sort of round the outside of the room where there's no carpet, there's wooden flooring.
Okay, I go to sleep on that, or try to, anyway.
Okay. Scarlett, what are you doing?
I go and get some drinks, I guess. Why not? Let's just do this. Yeah.
So as you go, you just hear a very familiar Gaelic port sounding. And the familiar figure of Houtan leans next to you and, so, what did you make of the meal?
Well, I thought it was a very varied selection, and the choice of the dragon spice tea before the main and dessert was certainly, well, I don't think I've ever eaten anywhere that's decided to make that decision. What was your thinking behind it?
Well, you know, I have always been something of a trailblazer, but for me it is very much about tingling and teasing the taste buds before you unleash something so marvelous as a wild boar. It is otherwise something of a plain dish, I find, but if you trick the mouse into believing that it is rather more ostentatious than it otherwise seems, I find that dragon spice is a key to unlocking that particular experience.
How very illuminating, Monsieur Houtan. I must say I've never had much difficulty with boar myself, you know.
His face
wild
falls a little.
pigs and the like. Yeah.
Oh, well, perhaps you might have something to teach me? Maybe.
Oh, goodness. Perhaps not. You seem to be very accomplished.
Well,
You seem to have cooked for many of the greats, as far as I can tell.
I am but a humble chef. My upbringing was here. My grounding in cooking was here also. I am what this city has made me.
But I must say, I have, on the whole, mostly been impressed with Baldur's Gate's cuisine.
Well, I am happy to have contributed to your view of the kitchen experience.
You certainly have, Monsieur Houtan.
Please, just Houtan.
Yes, thank you. I must say, what are you planning on staying here for much longer?
Alas, I was meant to be cooking at a grand banquet tomorrow, but as it stands, it is no longer happening, so instead, I find myself leaving in the morning. There is not much purpose for me to stick around, and so I will be returning for a little while to Gaelic Port and allowing myself to enjoy a little break, I am thinking. Until I am unleashed upon the world again.
Oh, yes. How terrible that will be.
Oh, you cannot even imagine.
Oh, yes. I might, down my drink.
Well, I will leave you to it, as well as your adorable little chat. Hello, hello, hello. Juliet just... And he heads off.
So is that a local Baldur's Gate accent then?
No, I think you've already, some of you have already heard that it's probably from an area called Gaelic Port.
Oh, okay. I thought he just
signing.
said that he was from here, and I was like, should I be French?
I mean, yes.
Yes.
I just thought you were trapped. You're trapped in now. I mean, Terra, it sounds vaguely French.
Yeah, it does. If you put a little accent on there.
No, you have to roll the R's.
Oh,
I can't do that. So.
What you should sound like is Granny Fungus.
That's
purest
the local
Baldurian
accent.
So, is there anything else you want to do before heading to bed, Scarlett?
I think at least have one other drink, which is good. I think she just checks her fingers to make sure they're naily and not clawy, because that tends to happen when she's annoyed.
You look down and you've kept a remarkably good length on your nails. They have protruded somewhat, but You're doing okay.
Yeah, they still look human. That's good.
This is the greatest story of unrequited love I have ever come across.
Don't.
Enemies to lovers.
I mean, there's a lot of friction to go out there, you know.
Namely, one being a good chef and one not. But
Yeah. You know the
Scartan for the win.
Bullet.
Marshal
I
Ula.
like Quillet.
I think she will sort of stay around for a little bit, because obviously Xenie went back early, so I think she will mingle for an appropriate amount of time, maybe sort of listen in if there are any more conversations on Neverwinter going on, you know, just be interested in them, and keep an eye, but not too obvious eye, on Ostafar and Ikreth.
So, in terms of Ostafar and Ikreth, they appear to be keeping a fairly wide berth from one another. Ostafar is in conversation with a lot of people in the room. Ikreth himself is sat off to one side. I would say, just before you head to bed, you do hear one conversation that does pertain to Neverwinter, as you see Lady Doreth and Lady Andrea, the nobles from Neverwinter, in conversation with Mistress Mixos. And you can hear Mixos say,
"You must thank Lord Harwood for recommending my humble establishment for your stay. It means a great deal that he remembers his last visit to Baldur's Gate."
and you see Lady Dorath sort of do a bit of sign language, and Andrea responds, and "We'll be sure to pass your best wishes on to Maxime when we next see him. Thank you very much for this wonderful meal. We'll see you in the morning." And Mistress Mixos just goes, "Good night." And they head up.
So yes, I sort of nod slightly to myself and then go upstairs to our shared bedroom space.
You do so, and you can see that Xenie is lying on the floor, as she is wont to do. Juliet takes this to mean that the other bed is naturally hers, and so she runs up and curls round on the big four-poster bed and just nuzzles down to sleep, purring.
I think I look at Xenie fondly and Juliet similarly fondly, like they're both my wards to look after. And then I sigh and cast a spell that I haven't had to cast for quite a few years, which is Private Sanctum. So basically, I go around all corners of the room to basically make sure that no sort of divination spells can cast through the barrier, that nothing can teleport in or out, that planar travel is blocked in it, and also that sounds can't pass out to the image.
So as you move around, tapping the end of your wooden spoon on each corner of the room, you feel a slight hum reach up and a vaguely translucent wall appear on either side of the room before disappearing into nothingness. It's like being in a soundproofed room. The noise of downstairs is now a muffle, and you climb into bed, content that no one can see or hear you. And you look at Xenie in the corner, you look at Juliet on the bed, and you fall asleep. And as you do, you dream. You dream of Neverwinter. Its tall spires, its flags, its warm river running down its center. You remember the kitchen. You remember the work. You remember the chores. And you remember leaving. But you fall asleep. Outside, Terra, your watch finishes. Who are you waking next?
I think I'd probably wake Dalifar next.
Okay. So, Dalifar, you wake. Unless there's anything you want to discuss, can you make a perception check for me for your watch?
14.
14. It is getting cold, and as you pull the cloak around you, unaccustomed as you are to these slightly chillier climes, you look and you can see a little bit of movement in Scarlett and Xenie's room, but nothing happens for the duration of your watch. It is quiet and it is peaceful. Is there anything you'd like to do while on watch?
Oh, sorry, this is me. No. I will sort of just keep an eye out and play with the bracelet around my wrist.
Okay. So your watch comes to an end. I assume you wake Oriana last?
Carefully.
Okay. So Oriana, you are met with Dalafar just slowly shaking you awake. Can you make a perception check for me, please?
I'm rolling so badly today. That would be a 13.
13. So you look out over the Wilting Snowdrop, and by now it is heavy night. The moon hangs in the sky, leaving a silver shimmer over everything, exacerbated and enhanced by the snow that surrounds. And the wind is picking up a little bit more by this time. And then you see a figure coming out of the snow. Fairly tall, lanky, pale skin and gaunt grey eyes, long black hair and a messy black beard. He wears a long brown coat over simple leathers. But one of the first things you notice about him, other than the scarf that drifts in the wind, are the bandages around his forearms. And he walks forward, and he sort of raises a hand, and you hear a voice. You look like you could have some fire. Tinder. For my cigarette?
No.
Never mind then. The scholars are telling us it's a filthy habit anyway. And he comes and takes a bit of shelter in the alley next to you, and he just sort of looks you up and down. He sees the two individuals asleep in the alleyway next to you. Friends of yours?
No, I just figured I'd come stand here next to these two sleeping humanoids.
He sort of squints his eyes a bit, and considering all that's happened in the city this last month, it's amazing to see people out at this hour at all.
What are you doing here?
Are we talking more existentially or just literally?
Why not both?
Why not both? And he chuckles to himself and, well, I'm here because I need a breath of fresh air. As for existential things, well, as he is looking around, he sort of takes a look at your wrists and, oh look, twinsies. Well, I'm in Baldur's Gate because I'm looking for something.
What are you looking for? Maybe I can help.
Maybe you can. Well, I'm looking for answers. Perhaps even the most elusive of things, resolution. I'm looking to right some wrongs. Call them the sins of our forebears.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite ambiguous. I don't think I can give you any help with that.
Probably not. No, I mean, if I knew what the answers were, I'd probably know what the questions were too. And I don't. How about you?
Just... I'm here with some friends.
The humanoid.
Yeah.
He just observes you for a bit, and there is an uncomfortable amount of silence as he just looks you up and down. And I've seen many tieflings in the city.
No. They're few and far between.
Ran into some on my way here.
Did you?
Yeah. Very accommodating.
Were they?
Yeah, they were.
Well, I can't comment. I haven't seen another or spoken to another tiefling properly for a while, so.
So you're local?
No, not local.
You strike me as a traveller. Where you come from?
Oh, I don't really come from anywhere.
No, everyone comes from somewhere.
No, I've always been a traveller.
Have you? Makes two of us. Makes two of us.
So you don't have a home?
Nah, not as such. I wander. I'm a wanderer.
How long have you been wandering for?
Say better part of 20 years. You?
Probably around the same, I guess.
Fancy that. Fancy that.
Yep. Are you staying long?
I don't imagine so. I imagine instinct or otherwise will take me someplace or another in a matter of time. I'll probably know when to up and go. I'll leave when it feels right, you know?
Where are you staying?
Lovely little establishment, the Dripping Tap.
I
You?
guess. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll see you around.
Maybe. Maybe. Damn, I was really wanting that smoke, you know?
Sorry, I can't help.
It's okay. Life's full of little disappointments, isn't it? You know, I said I was looking for something. I think I'm close. I think I'm closer than I've been in a very long time.
Well, that's good to hear. If there's anything that you think that I might be able to help with, then just...
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
After all, you're only a couple of doors away.
Only a couple of doors away.
Well, I'll see you around. I didn't catch your name.
Sorry.
Ori.
Lovely name. And he offers his hand. And once again, you see the bandages wrapped around his wrists, and he just looks at you. Name's Eli. Eli 5. Hope we see each other again. Hope you have a nicer night's sleep than your friends do. He gestures to himself. Humanoids. Am I right?
Haha.
See you around, Ori. See you around. And he walks off into the snow, and as it picks up and swirls around him, he disappears into the night. And that's where we'll end our session.
I'm really glad I wasn't awake to hear Oriana be more friendly to the
I know. I was like, this is the most you've ever talked to anybody.
Please let me help you. Ask you how.
Sorry, what?
Strange, mysterious stranger.
I'm choosing to take that as us being a good influence on her.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was going to say. We've obviously just
Yeah.
She's
I
blame it on the fact that she was totally thrown. So she was just like, I don't even know how to act. Oh geez.
Yeah.
And also, my friends are sleeping in the snow next to me. This is weird. Cool.
I don't know how to explain this.
Well, we will pick up on all of that next session, where, we'll have some exciting news for everyone. But in the meantime, please like, subscribe, click the bell icon as well. It really helps us out, and it notifies you when we have a new video, which we would love. We wouldn't want you to miss out. You can also check us out on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow us on there. We'd love for you to do so. And once again, plug for our Patreon. In the meantime, it's so nice to see all of you again, week in and week out. And also, we're recording this the day after Jess's birthday, so a belated happy birthday, Jess!
Hey!
I'm old now, yay!
Yeah! And we will see everyone next week, where we will continue our story and see where it leads us. But in the meantime, stay safe. Hopefully we're almost through this, and we will see you soon. In the meantime, we love you very much. Bye-bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.